Hello, human peoples. You're listening to the podcast network of Gamefully Unemployed. To support us and gain access to great exclusive podcasts like Fox Mulder is a Maniac, Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, Star Trek The Next Futurama, and our latest show, Spiel Boys, head over to patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. We do game streaming, movie nights with our patrons every Friday night, and you can even commission your own podcast about anything you want. Literally anything, within reason, and we have to do it. You are quite frankly out of excuses not to go visit patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. That's patreon.com/GAMEFULLY unemployed, which is spelled like it sounds.
Oh, podcast over.
Podcasters.
Hi, hello.
More than meets the eye.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
My name is David Bale.
My name is Tom Ryman.
Oh, am I? Oh, I thought you. I'm a guest, so I don't know what I'm doing. I'm Abe Epperson, your guest.
And we just watched Transformers Rise of the Beast.
Is that what it was called? I just kept calling it Beast Wars.
They should have called
They
it
should have
Beast
just
Wars.
called it that.
Should just call it Beast Wars, man. We know what this is. It's the Beast Wars movie.
For centuries, our kind has stayed hidden on Earth. But darkness has found us again. Prime. This is about the fate of all living things. Unicron is coming.
Yeah.
Abe Epperson.
Yeah.
Abe.
I could talk about this
how
movie.
are you?
I don't care. I could talk about this movie for a long time.
Good. But first, I want to thank you for being here.
Oh, okay.
And I want to ask you what you got going on, if there's anything in your life.
Hell
that
yeah,
you
you
need
know,
to
I
tell
got-
people about.
I got tons of stuff going on, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Like what?
Yeah, you know what you should... I'm making a movie, and it's with Michael Swaim. And right now, we have a little campaign that we're going, a little crowdfunding. You give us, a little bit of scratch, and guess what? We make a crazy movie. And you can check out all of that info about, like, what's that movie like? And, like, how do I give? And stuff like that. If you go to seedandspark.com/fund/papa-bear, I'm sure it'll be in the notes for this here podcast. But yeah, it's a coming of age, like, teen sex comedy made by people that you probably recognize from crack.com and just in general some funny dudes, I hope. But yeah, go there and check out the lookbook, and like you can actually even read the script if you want. And you can look at what we got in store. I think it's a project you'd be interested in if you're fans of Tom and Dave.
Beast Wars.
And Beast Wars.
Because it's Beast. It's
It
Beast.
very much is, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's basically the same thing.
It's essentially Beast Wars.
That's right, because the movie is about a kid who finds out his dad's a gay furry, and that's exactly what this movie is.
Yeah.
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 We're worried about it, in fact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
talk about
Everyone's
this
just going to be
movie?
calling us Transformers ripoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
sure.
what do I do with that information?
They're
like
going to be
2
calling
years
us GoBots.
2 years
Right.
of my life has been in prep for this movie,
Right.
writing
You
it
even
and doing all-
had a scene where he turns into a truck, and you're like, damn it!
Ah!
They got to it. They got it
God.
for us.
Damn
Optimus
it.
Prime.
Yeah. That's right. Optimus. Yeah, it's called Papa Bear, so that's where that
Yeah.
joke
That's
is.
where it is, yeah.
Nailing it, Tom. That's some great heat, man. I love it.
Oh,
Shall we
my
talk about
goodness.
this movie?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
suppose
let's
so.
talk about this movie.
What is this, the
I'll
18th
just-
Transformers movie?
Something like that.
But seriously, this is like the 7th, right? That's the 7th? It has to, right?
It's got- that feels
I
right.
figured it was more than that, but yeah, you're probably right about
I think
7.
there were 5
This is
Mickey Bay ones, 5 Mickey Bays, and then
they've been-
the Bumblebee.
Yeah, they've sort of, I quote unquote, fixed it by going to the 90s. Like this and Bumblebee were both 90s, right?
No, Bumblebee was 80s.
80s. Okay, and so that's their way of like creating a new universe, but also within the Michael Bay universe, right?
Right. They're like
they're just
technically
like, well, this
prequels.
is before all
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
But it also means that no one can die.
Right. I guess. Yeah.
It means certain car bots can't die.
Right, and others I feel
Like
like
the
are
boat-
doomed to die because it's just like where are you in the Michael Bay movies? You're gonna die.
Yeah, because like it's not like you're hanging out with other Transformers,
Right.
You know, or you're hanging out with, I don't know, literally anyone else. You're an enormous robot. You can't do much other than hang out with other enormous robots.
I mean, the humans in this are doomed to die. It seems like.
Yeah.
'Cause where are they in the new ones?
He's joined G.I. Joe.
You're right. Spoilers, folks. Spoilers.
This is a G.I. Joe crossover.
I mean,
It
sure,
is.
yeah. That was
Listen.
a pretty great surprise to me.
Yeah. How did people like this movie?
You know, yeah, you go,
Let's let
you
Abe
go,
go.
Tom.
We'll let Abe
All
go
right.
first. Let Abe go first.
All right, I'll go first. I find it very hard to care about Transformers. I find it all hilarious. I love the first act of this movie because it's mostly humans, and I think that's the right choice for this movie. They're not fantastic characters, but it makes it clear what their wants and their stakes are, and so you start to care a little bit, which is much better than last time I checked into the Transformers series. And I liked most of the movie. The good guys are getting their asses kicked, which is always always fun to see in like an action adventure movie, but ultimately it's giant hunkin' robots smashing in each other, and immediately as I see that, I go like, oh yes, this is what we're supposed to see. I remember, and then I start getting distracted and walk out and come back, and it's still happening. So it's it's hard for me to like, but if that's your type of thing, I think it's probably a great installment.
Yeah, I sort of, it's no surprise. I think I told you guys, this is like, I know intellectually there's a lot of stupid, desperate things in this movie.
Yeah.
I just enjoyed it from beginning to end.
Yeah.
And while enjoying it, I was just like, I know this is dumb.
Oh, yeah.
I know they're like, they're doing like the Avengers thing. Like it's desperate and pandering, and it wants to be a cinematic universe, and I'm enjoying all of it.
Sure.
And yeah.
Why not? It's like smashing toys together. Yeah, like watching this movie. Yeah, I thought this movie was a blast. Like I liked Like I genuinely liked Bumblebee. So I liked that this was more of a sequel to that. I laughed my ass off every single scene the robots talk. It's the funniest thing in the universe.
It's so dumb.
Yeah.
But I did actually, I really liked the
great.
humans. Like, I mean, it was a real,
Yes.
I appreciated that they actually gave the main character Noah and Optimus Prime, the giant honkin' monster bot, had like mirroring arcs where they had to go through this like leader sort of thing, and then put aside like it's basic, but like I appreciated that they put enough thought to it that like the characters all had arcs. Like I cared about the humans. I actually cared about some of these goofy ass robots, and that they all tied together. Like it didn't feel like scene to scene dialogue was shaky, but like the general story of it was like, oh, okay, this actually connects, and they like thought about this. It's not like mind blowing, but
they went for simple stuff.
Yeah, the big thing about this movie, and I think this is fair to say, it's the Transformers with probably the best humans. Maybe Bumblebee
Mr.
also.
Bumblebee, yeah.
I like
but
Bumblebee.
Again, it's the bar is so low where it felt like they were like, what if we did a Transformers but you didn't want to stab the human characters? That's what it feels like. So this and Bumblebee, I'm like, I actually like the humans. I like them more than the Transformers. I liked scenes with them. Like I recently took mushrooms and tried to watch one of the Michael Bay ones, one of the Mark Wahlberg ones.
Oh God!
And and even under those conditions, I shut it off like 20 minutes in, just because it was so fucking boring. Because it's like Mark Wahlberg doing terrible jokes, and like, you know, it just takes itself so seriously, and it's just got nothing.
They kept getting longer. The Michael Bay ones, because it's Michael Bay, he is mean-spirited. So the Michael Bay Transformers are like toxic and mean-spirited and
it's
racist
and
like It's just like it became such a cesspool, this franchise.
Right.
So it's
It
like
felt
the bar
defensive and like he had something to prove.
yeah.
Yeah, no,
So,
it's
like-
absolutely right. There's no joy in it.
Right. So it's weird like I feel bad for these movies. Like especially Bumblebee because I like Travis Knight as a filmmaker. Like I like Laika. It's a great studio.
Right.
And I thought Bumblebee was a good movie, but I also recognized this is the 6th Transformers movie, and they were shoveling us crap for decades.
It
so
feels like a real waste.
these movies
Yeah.
kind of like
It's Star Wars.
yeah,
Basically.
they sort of.
Yeah,
I don't want to
with
say they
Lucas.
like deserve to fail because they don't. You know, a lot of talented people worked on these movies, but it's like, my God. And from the studio end of it, it's like, couldn't you guys have done this in the first place?
Right. There's an element of like, is this too little, too late? Right.
Right, exactly,
And I
like
bet it is for some people.
The latest
you know?
the latest Terminator movie I thought was okay, but it was like that was also very much a state of like too little, too late.
Exactly. Yeah. Where it's like you've already failed like so many times, and then doubled down on that failure. And like that's the thing is like we're past the point where like seeing a Transformer is cool, where it's like, oh my God, they did it. It's a Transformer in like photorealism, you know. We're past that. So like there's no awe anymore of that, which I still commend the first Michael Bay for like kind of doing that right. Like I would say the first Michael Bay Transformers handles the Transformers stuff in a way that's interesting, but it still has all the problems.
I think the very first scene in the Michael Bay Transformers when the helicopter attacks is a good scene.
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah.
Oh,
There's
I'm sorry.
good
You
stuff like
sounded
that.
like you had a thought.
Well,
there, Abe.
I want to respond a little bit to like you guys are absolutely right about scoping it in this way. Like they absolutely like grabbed it from Michael Bay's hands and said we can do a better thing. And one of those things, like you've already acknowledged in this podcast, it's like like making sure you do character appropriately so that people care about the characters. It's about
Right.
not taking itself seriously, is something that you said. Here's the thing is that it does solve, this movie and Bumblebee both solve that problem a little bit, but not all the way. This is still a movie that takes itself way too seriously, and they're kind of like, it is very simplistic and kind of boring. It reads like, to me, when I realized what the plot was, which the plot is essentially these human characters and these Autobots have to essentially find two parts of a key, put them together, open up a rift in space so they can go home. But the threat is also coming through that rift in space and going to destroy Earth, essentially. So the stakes are
Right.
high in both. It feels a little bit like most of the movie until the like very end very much feels like a tutorial mission in like any survival game. It's like
It also-
go get two keys, which sometimes is the best stuff. Like I don't know,
But-
I'm thinking off the
no,
top
no,
of my head,
I-
like The Mummy is like about go get this book, you know, like
Right.
it's I love that, and they do that appropriately. It's just it's not necessarily changing anything. It's just
think-
doing a adventurous tale, which is great.
Right. I think that's what I mean about this film kind of feeling pathetic, I guess, or like, because again, I really enjoyed this film, but I recognize that the plot would have been derivative in 2010.
Yeah.
And that's the thing where it's so basic, where it's every fucking plot, which is like, you have to get these two pieces. And then once you do, it'll
And then
create a light
Sky
beam in the
Threat.
sky.
Yeah, Sky
Yeah,
Threat.
and Sky Threat will come through.
And then
like,
you'll
that's
have a
fucking
war.
Avengers
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
Yeah, and then there'll be a ground war to close the sky rift. And then the idea where the character is like, you have to destroy it, and he's like, it's our ticket home. It was like, oh, so Optimus is going to destroy it. Like, of course he's going to destroy it.
Yeah.
Like, that's how it'll go. He'll choose to do it to save. And, you know, you see all the arcs and everything a mile away. And so a lot of this is also just how lowered the bar is.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, but in a way, like, I think my enjoyment of this kind of came from it was almost nostalgic for like 10 years ago, but a better version.
But yeah.
Which, like, that was my feeling, was like, they should have made this movie 10 years ago. Or I guess it's more than 10 years.
This would have
point.
been a great like Transformers 1 if we
Yeah,
could have had that.
Yeah,
that
or
would have been
a sequel.
amazing.
Maybe even
Like,
just a
that-
sequel.
I'm gonna bum you out with the passage of time, Dave. Realize that Bumblebee came out 5 years ago,
No, I don't want to realize
like half a
anything.
decade ago was Bumblebee.
I refuse. I refuse to
Yeah,
realize
no,
these things.
these are the Transformers are 80 years old.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good robots in this. There's a plane robot.
I loved him.
Stratosphere, I think was
yeah.
his name. He had,
I love that he had a mustache when he turns into a giant robot.
He's got a
Yeah, it's so
Scottish
dumb.
accent, only talks once in the movie, and I looked in IMDb because I just wanted to see the
Yeah,
cast.
who's doing
It's
the voice?
John DiMaggio.
DiMaggio, baby.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
Bender.
Bender
Oh, hell
gets
yeah.
one line in like this movie, basically.
He played one and another one. I forget who he played, but he's been in the series before doing voices.
Yeah, so it's probably like legacy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, big old mustache. I love his introduction because he cannot land without destroying like a city block because he's enormous.
Yeah.
Why is he a broke ass plane? Like, why has he got
I don't know.
A
exhaust
few
all
of them
coming
have
out?
that. I don't. Bumblebee was a broke ass car when they first got
got,
it,
like-
and then he just like turned himself into a nice car.
I'm like,
and
what's
it's
up
like,
with that? So it's a taste. It's like a style choice.
I think it's a style choice.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Well, we see Mirage in this movie turn into a couple of different kinds. Like he turns into a Porsche,
sure
an
does,
F1 racer, like a Ferrari. But then, of course, he gets his ass blasted apart towards the end, so they have to like rebuild him with a bunch of like scrap.
Yes.
So I guess he can't look as nice anymore. I'm not sure how it works because in the
I don't know,
in the Michael
man.
Bay
I mean-
ones, like they could just scan new cars and then become that car. But in this one, it seems like they have a little bit more freedom, just kind of jazz. you know?
Yeah, Michael Bay added in something that I honestly didn't think like hurt it, which is that he added in like a logical reason they looked like cars, which is that they don't look like cars. They scan whatever's in the environment and then look like that. Right?
That's
like
why
that's
the,
what he added.
That's why the Maximals look like
facsimiles.
animals.
Right.
Right. But they also
They're also gigantic. I mean, it's stupid, but
Yeah,
I'm saying the
the
logic is
all right.
like still kind of there, but it is dumb.
The
kinda
Maximals are
there.
the funniest fucking things,
They're
which
the
is like,
so
why
goddamn
why
funny.
are you a 20-foot tall
Why are you a
gorilla? And it's
gorilla?
like,
Like-
I'm trying to blend in.
Yeah,
And it's
he's
just like, no,
we are an
you're-
advanced race that goes around to different planets to help them along. And I'm like a giant robot monkey?
yeah.
yeah, we talked about this when because I was on the episode that we did the hype cast for this movie, and I remember asking the question, and it's still not really answered for me, which is like, what's up with those Maximals, and why are they even Transformers? I never see them transform into anything.
Oh,
so this is just
they
how
transform
they
into
look.
dudes. They
Do
transform
they?
into
Yeah, they do.
like humanoid robot form during that final battle for a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. That
It's
was
the
unclear
cheetah
to
one
me.
has like a spear. The rhino is
Yeah.
like this big buff dude.
The cheetah one, yeah, like if they're different enough, but not the gorilla. The gorilla,
gorilla
doesn't
just
seem
kinda
to
looked
do
like-
it.
kind of looks like a dude.
He looked
yeah.
basically the same. He just looked like Optimus Prime with shaggy pauldrons on.
Right.
That's the
it's
other thing. Why
it's
do
the
they have
most
fur?
underwhelming. Yeah.
Where's the
To
fur
blend
coming
in,
from?
Abe. To blend in.
But like that's not a part of the transform. Like that
to blend in.
the whole. But they're like nanotechnology, right? Like that's the equivalent
guess. I don't
that
know.
I think of. Like that the Allspark powers this like mechanical series of this Rube Goldberg machine that essentially can unlock
Yeah.
and relock into such various configurations depending on the entity. Where's that fur coming from?
I don't know. I'm
when you
guessing
say
they
it
didn't-
like that, it sounds stupid. It's just space magic.
The first, by
right.
the way, if you ever watch behind the scenes of the first Transformers, they literally in the CGI department mapped out how they were transforming.
Yeah,
like
that's-
where the pieces were going.
That's why some of them
I-
look like weird as hell. That's like why Starscream looks fucked up and strange in those movies.
right
Because they were like, well,
but I appreciate it.
I do appreciate that they like thought about that and was like, well, all of these pieces have to go into a logical place. But you know what else they thought about? The Starscream's character design. He looked like that for a reason. Like so it
Right.
just doesn't. Like I appreciate them trying to make it like realistic in that way, but it ultimately just kind of made them all look like a big mess, and I couldn't tell any
Right.
of them apart.
Yeah,
what I was going to
that's
say is I
the ultimate.
guarantee they stopped doing that by at least the second film. And I figure like that's kind of like these movies, they're like, yeah, who gives a shit? Why would you give a shit? Like, I did think there would be some fun things they could do, like when Mirage turns into the garbage truck. Oh, I guess he's using his Mirage power to make himself look bigger.
Yeah.
I guess that's what he's doing. Yeah,
Right,
for
it
that
can also
scene,
be
yeah.
like 8 of him. And
because I thought it would be neat to show the inside, and it's like nearly hollow because he's like ballooned out, you know?
And replicate like a humanoid facsimile of a person.
Oh yeah. Well, they do that.
That was great.
I mentioned the helicopter attack in the very first Transformers. That's in that scene. Like they can see the silhouette of a pilot in the helicopter, so they don't understand what's happening.
Right.
Yeah, it's a cool little detail.
It's kind of like
That's
an eerie
a fucked
scene.
up
Yeah.
robot.
Well, if
It is
you
a fucked
remember,
up robot.
yeah,
like that thing would could haunt people in ways that demons cannot even conceive.
that's the thing that's been lost since the first one, which is that Transformers are fundamentally terrifying.
That's a fucking frightening thing to happen in front of you.
Yes, the first movie really does push that, where it's the transformations are loud and long and like disruptive. Like when that first helicopter transforms, I'll never forget the blades just suddenly stopping in this really unnerving way.
Yeah.
Like there was some really cool ideas there, and then they just they're just like, they transform. They transform.
Anytime a
It's fine.
robot signals to you that like I was doing this behavior for you to think that I was quote normal, but the reality is far more foreign than that. That is horrifying.
Yeah,
because
that's
oh no,
it's the way a spider's brain works.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You're faking me out to eat me, I assume.
I do wish they thought about it a little harder, because it got to the point, and in this one it is like magic. Like, remember the one where the Michael Bay one where Transformer literally looks like a hot chick? And it's just a T-1000 at that point.
Oh, right.
Like it
I forgot about that.
Yeah, it just becomes like, it's kind of like Iron Man's suit, which is like, the more interesting versions was when it was an actual mechanical device, and then by the end they're like, these particles come out and make the suit.
Yeah, it's
and
just
it's
magic.
like, oh, it's just magic now. Yeah, you just made a magic thing.
Right, that was
So,
it was like part of the that was part of the like heart of the film, was him tinkering with this shit and getting it to work and not really being good at it and figuring out which parts. And then by the end of it, it's just magic shit crawling out of his skin or whatever.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's like, we have gone far afield.
Yeah, exactly. We've lost. The
Speaking of going far
thread.
afield, let's get back to this movie.
Well, we're talking about
We
this
are,
movie.
we
I want
are,
to talk
that's
about.
true.
I love how many actors got a check from this. We
Sure.
got Michelle Yeoh, Peter Dinklage, Ron Perlman, Pete Davidson. Mentioned John DiMaggio. Like it's. I really enjoy the voices in this.
The guy who
because-
plays Danny Rojas and Ted Lasso is there as well.
Nice, yeah.
He's the one who points out that the humans are racist, not the robot
Oh, he's Wheeljack.
depictions.
He's Wheeljack.
Oh yeah.
I love that
Which is-
Wheeljack had little glasses. He's a robot.
Yeah.
Glasses.
Go
He's
to
a
go along
robot.
with
Why does he
Stratosphere's
need that?
fucking mustache.
Yeah, they don't need that. They don't need any of that.
I thought I was really impressed with the bad guy in this one. Like I thought, like
Peter Dinklage,
Peter
right?
Dinklage,
As,
yeah. Like
Scourge.
the performance was great. Like by the end of the movie, I was like, this guy's a fucking nightmare. I'm sick of, like, he's beating everyone's ass throughout.
Yeah,
this movie.
I'm really glad everybody got their ass kicked.
Man,
Like,
Optimus gets wrecked in that first
Yeah.
scene.
Dude,
Bumblebee.
the only
Bumblebee
thing
gets
missing
killed.
from him being a great villain, because his performance is there and the character design was there, they offered one of the coolest things that you can do with like a villain, which is that it has this ability to infect someone, and it affects Michelle Yeoh, and then turn you into a device of betrayal in the story. So what's great about that is that they should have had more robots, like just random robots, and had him do it to like a whole group of people.
I want to
see
him
fantastic.
Yeah,
That would have been
I want to
pretty
see him
cool.
do it to a human, and like their skin
what-
just gets all fucking
Oh, that would've
gnarly,
been
and they
gnarly.
become like a zombie.
Well,
I do appreciate that they did. I agree. It would have been better to get more mileage out of that power, because that would have been a cool thing to see, especially in that ending fight. But I do appreciate that they deployed it on a character that we did care about, because it's Michelle Yeoh. Even though it's a silly bird that's just like talking, and every time the
it's
bird
like-
talked, I laughed. You still care about
so
the bird.
funny.
But
all their mouths were so stupid
So
looking.
stupid.
Yeah.
They were like these creepy fucking insecty mouths.
Yeah.
And whenever the bird talked, it was, yeah. But no, I just want to agree with, I'm glad, it's weird to say, I'm glad she died. I'm glad they had to kill
They
her.
didn't bring her back because they killed Bumblebee
exactly.
and bring him back, which we knew they would because
And
he's
they
in all the
killed
other
Mirage
movies.
and brought
Yeah.
him back.
Yes.
So they're
Yeah.
doing that whole trick. And they had a death early up top with, I guess, a robot we didn't really know. But, like,
Yeah.
I love that it was just a larger gorilla.
A bigger ape. See, here's
Yeah.
another thing that I thought they were going to do, that I thought would have been a cool way to make the bad guys, because we don't see much of Unicron, who's like the big sky threat.
Yeah.
That's like
The
Scourge's
the Thanos
master or whatever. But there's this cool idea that they, like, Scourge basically like pledged fealty to Unicron, I guess. So now, like, he's like in his thrall and like gave him all this super awesome power, and like the two other Transformers that he works with are also made the same deal. So like when he blows that initial monkey away and he's like laying there with like his chest blown open and like, you'll never get the key, Scourge. Like, and then Scourge says, you should have taken the deal. And they cut, they flash, they do a time lapse to however many years later, 1994. I really thought we were going to see that gorilla again at the end of the movie, having taken the deal from Unicron. That would have been cool.
That would have been great. They didn't
cool,
leave the body. They grabbed the body. They took it back up and they rebuilt him and made him evil. Like, undead
because that would have given the monkey something to do. Because like Optimus has to face off against Scourge because he killed Bumblebee and I think more importantly embarrassed Optimus, because in that first fight at the museum, like Optimus winds up with his goofy ass like axe or sword or whatever and swings it down, and Scourge just kind of like blocks it very easily, and Optimus goes like, that's not possible.
Yeah, that's right.
Like he can't understand somebody stronger than him.
That was silly. And because it's like, because you take the voice of Optimus Prime and it's as funny as Darth Vader going, what? Because it's just like this guy who is in control all the time and sounds like it.
Yeah.
Not understanding. But it was like, that's when I knew that the movie, I was like, okay, movie, you're actually, you're dividing stakes. You're not just making things all ubiquitous in terms of like everyone is strong and everyone hits hard and everyone can't get hurt until suddenly we turn it on. It's like they kind of did form a hierarchy at once, and I was like, okay, but then they did remove that at the end when
pretty
the little
much.
bodysuit could take out anything. Like that's silly, but whatever.
I will say. In terms of resurrections, this movie more than others has the right to do that because they're robots, right? Where it's like, why can't you fix all of them? If anything,
and they only did one.
It's weird. Yeah, it's weird when they die, because I'm like, will someone drag that thing to a shop and you'll figure it out. Just replace some parts.
They're still life forms. They're biomechanical, but like
But
you can stab the Allspark and it dies. Like you can break the crystal or whatever.
Or just smash their heads with a big rock like they do to that one guy.
That was fun. That was fun.
Yeah. By the way, Unicron is Coleman Domingo.
Coleman Domingo as a
I always think of him as from Candyman. He's the old guy in Candyman who tells the legend. So like his voice is very distinct.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh, that's a good Unicron, because I believe that was Orson Welles.
It was
right?
Orson Welles in the movie. I didn't love his voice in the scenes where he's talking to Peter Dinklage, where he's talking to Scourge. Like he's kind of like a little too amped up villainous. Like I really liked the other scenes where he's just like talking to like Optimus, and he's just like, well, you put up a good fight, but I'm gonna eat your plant. Like it's just, or like
he's using
the way
his boss voice.
Yeah, well, I liked that interpretation, like the Orson Welles, where it just is like this super, super old, weary sounding voice, but also big and imposing, and like he sounds like
Orson Welles
an
objectively
endless
sounds like a planet eater.
Right, he sounds like an immortal force,
a hungry planet eater.
Yeah.
So
if they had just got a sound alike for Orson Welles, I would have been so happy.
Like, that would have been incredible.
Oh, it'd be so good if like
just get Maurice LaMarche.
Like fucking wheezy and just like it'd be so fucking good.
Yeah.
That's not. I mean, I still think I liked Coleman Domingo's performance.
I like
in most of the scenes.
I mean, it was what? How do you? What's his name? Frank Weller. Is that it?
Welker.
Yeah.
Welker. Yeah, once you raise the bar to that level where it's just like, no, that's not the sound of a human. That's just the sound of gravel. That's just gravel running all smushing up against each other. You have to go even deeper. It took me a while. I didn't know that Scourge was Dinklage until I looked it up after I got back home. Like, because he even, like, or they added it in post.
They distort all their voices, yeah.
They distort all their voices a bit, but you can kind of tell. Like Michelle Yeoh, I could tell immediately.
Oh, that was almost like they wanted us to know.
Especially the evil and the hunkin' bots, like the big ones, they're like, and it's just like everyone sounds the same.
I wish they were all like that Venture Brothers robot, the one who's like, ignore me, where it's just so loud and nobody likes being around it.
Yeah,
like, I want them all to be just at 11 all the time, and every human is just like,
Just exhausting.
yeah.
That
Just rumbling, everything's around them, fucking shaking as they talk.
Optimus just screaming at the sky, swinging his sword around.
that is honestly a great way to, like, to me, like, if someone's writing a new Transformers, that's exactly how you go about it. Because if you kind of reimagine it with that, that's how you could get humor out of, like, Transformers. Whereas I kind of want to talk about historically what we've seen in, like, the Michael Bays. We love, like, we don't love, but, like, they loved sassy robots, and we still have a little bit of sassy robots.
Yes.
Right? And I want to talk about that.
Pete Davidson had some good lines here and there. I like, I'm sure there was improvising. I actually don't know if there was, because it's fucking dealing with CGI and shit, but I'm sure there's some. And like, I do think that's what I was saying is, like, I like the humans more than the robots, because it's like, I think the robots, honestly, they're funniest when they're just dead serious.
They're just dead. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And the humans are just, they're the straight man, basically. The humans can just joke off of them.
Exactly.
And I wish they did that more. I wish they explored, again, the reality of a giant robot talking to you. Mm-hmm. Like, I wish they played with that, because we've had 7 of these movies, and it really doesn't feel like they just try to
that.
like.
It seems like we're
it's
still
like the
on.
movie tries to pretend that they're not giant robots,
right? And it feels like we're still kind of on, like, the first 3 pages of ideas, right?
Yeah,
because they all feel very similar. I don't know.
They do.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, I never really feel like this is ridiculous. This is fucking, like, they have the characters act shocked for like a scene at most, and then they're just like, and they're robots. Like the woman in this who's great, who again, I loved the human plots, because it also felt very 90s, especially hers, where she's like the smart one, but she's an assistant.
Yeah, that is 90s.
That's extremely nice. Yeah, where she just
90s.
Identifies each artifact in a nanosecond.
It's straight up
incredible.
Godzilla, the Matthew Broderick Godzilla with her and the news anchor. Like, it's that dynamic. And so, like, I don't know, I liked that instinct of, like, let's bring back these stupid 90s tropes. But yeah, when she sees the robots, she barely reacts. She's like, makes a joke, and then she's like, all right, we're good. Robots. And you think
she reacts more strongly to him to Noah breaking into the office.
That was a little bit more fun, yeah. Like, where it's just like security immediately was fun.
And run-ins just circles around the desks.
Yeah.
But they should be spending the rest of the movie just being like, so what are you? What's your deal? Like, where's your brain? Do you have a heart? Where's the voice? How did you choose your voice? Like, it just should be all that.
Look at that one. That one has its head down and it's crying. Is that robot sad? Is that a sad robot?
Every new robot, they should go, oh my God.
Yeah. What is your deal?
So, I mean, I didn't love Shia LaBeouf, but he does have like a panic attack throughout the entire series.
Yeah, he kind of understood that. I did know. Yeah, he kind of understood, like, whenever, like, he's confronted with a god, he reacted in a funny way. I think the comment on just like we've had this several times in big movies, like Dave Bautista in Guardians, and that new D&D movie. I think if you've both seen it, there's a character who's also very literal and serious.
The Paladin, right?
You can play with the comic relief and make levity out of circumstantial comedy as opposed to, I don't know, robots using slang and asking for fist bumps.
Right.
I mean, it is surreal, and I'm actually starting to think the more we talk about it that might be a little bit wrong, because maybe this is the best version. Maybe being dumbfounded by these scenes as the audience member is exactly what Transformer wants.
Here's what it feels like to me is, and at least script wise, like the directing of this is fine, but the directing it's just what it needed to be. Like, it didn't feel like they were doing anything spectacular there. They weren't shooting it in a way. I think a couple times they were trying to be a little Jurassic Parky with the little robots. They were like, like those little fuckers.
Hallways and stuff.
I forgot about those little guys. There's a scene where those little guys, these little boogans that like Scourge can just like spit out of his body to chase people. Yeah. They're chasing the two human characters to the museum, and at one point it flips down from the ceiling and lands in front of it. In front of them, and it brandishes a knife, and I could not stop laughing.
It's so funny.
I was like, why does that robot have a knife? That's like giving a raptor a switchblade. Why does it have a knife?
Why is it going to shiv your main character?
It could just kill you. It's a robot from... Why doesn't it have a gun? All the other Transformers have guns.
Right.
It's just funny that it had this little knife in its hand.
Yeah.
It's so great. And what you notice is, like, in the second half, like, when shit really hits off, like, the second half of the film, even, like, Mirage, the Pete Davidson character, doesn't really have lines. They knew it was a bad idea to have serious and jokes mixing together in every scene, because it's hard to be serious and funny at the same time. It fucks up the tone. And
that's what I was going to say, for at least in terms of script. The directing's fine, nothing against it, but I think what we're seeing is the exact same shit we've seen before with Transformers, except this is just the most polished version that is the most agreeable.
And
that's why that's why I was like, this is dumb. It's derivative. I'm enjoying it. Like, remember at Optimus Prime in the scene, they send the humans into the museum they send them to steal the one key, half of the thing. Yeah. And then at the end of that, he's like, I shouldn't have sent a human. Now, why did I do that? I should have gone in. And then the very next plan, they're like, how do we get the other half? And they're like, let's send in the human. And Optimus Prime is like, I have no problem with that. And it's like, really? Because that was literally your arc a moment ago.
There's even a third time when the robots give the key to the meat bags, and they're like, keep the keys safe.
Right, and like, I know Optimus's arc is to trust humans, but they don't really establish that. Like,
not yet. It's not until the end that it clicks.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they're not really going out of their way here. And again, sassy robot, all the shit we've sort of seen before. I just think this is probably the best version of all that, which is why I keep thinking, like, this belonged in 2010. This would have killed it in 2010.
It probably would have killed it a lot more. It probably, yeah.
The fucking G.I. Joe, they're doing the Avengers Initiative.
Hell yeah.
They're doing where he's like...
aren't
yes,
they?
they are. They 100% are. And it's so desperate, and I don't care.
Exactly. I was about to say, Dave, who cares?
Right. And well, that's the thing. It feels not fair, because like when they made that Tom Cruise mummy, that was the most pathetic thing.
Yeah.
I think the secret is that movie was also like too serious and not fun.
Well, the movie wasn't fun, yeah.
It's the same desperation. They're like, we want you to want a cinematic Transformers G.I. Joe universe, and this dumb fucking scene with what's his name from
Michael
House
Kelly.
of Cards, is just like, name's Joe, G.I. Joe. I mean, that's not what he says, it might as well be.
He hands him a card.
Hands him a card with the G.I. Joe logo.
Well, I think
he's like, call us sometime.
One of the reasons, another big reason that this doesn't feel as bad or as egregious as the Tom Cruise mummy is that this was clearly a movie on its own, and then they just added that scene at the end. Like the Tom Cruise mummy, it is woven throughout that they're trying to spin it out into a cinematic universe.
It's also that Transformers is more deserving of that schlocky spin.
Sure. I mean, it's a toy. G.I. Joe is also a toy.
Yeah.
Why not smash them together? That's what we always did as kids.
It has no soul. So it's like, much like a Transformer, it has no soul. So it's just like, do whatever you want, I guess. It doesn't fucking matter. Whereas like the Mummy, I mean, it's based off a longer thing that was never this. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, a G.I. Joe Transformers crossover, I'm sure they've already done. And it's like, yeah, they're cartoons. They were always cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
To treat them like a cartoon is not weird. Whereas the Mummy, it's like, why are you trying to do this to this?
Why are you trying to make
property?
the Mummy into the Avengers?
Right. Whereas like Transformers, it's just kind of, that's already what it is. It's just that same bullshit.
It's interesting because I also was like, some of the Autobots have like legit sweet weapons, like Morning Stars and spears and axes and stuff, and it makes me wonder why they all don't. I mean, they all have guns, but like in addition to the guns and the blades that come out of their arms, they should also be toting these crazy weapons that could be legit awesome.
Or just give them all knives.
Or just give them all tiny little switchblades.
Little switchblade knives. And that's all they fight
stiletto,
with.
Yeah.
I mean, they could just make what they want, really. But like to your point, because I think that like at the end, we are like, I'm picking it apart. Dave's picking it apart a little bit. Tom's very good at assessing that it's just like smashy playtime. But it does. I have to ask you just legitimately because I'm not like numb to that. I'm like, yeah, that's fun. I admit. But most of your movie is like this weird self-serious kind of thing that it's like expositions that are unnecessary if that's all you really want. And I wonder about that. I'm like, is there not a better combination of these events to make us all happy?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's tough
because they've been trying for many movies and many years before this, and I think these last two are where they're finally kind of getting it.
I agree. Yeah. And I think they could go. They're one away from reigniting the franchise, and I think like it's in Dave's suggestions. You know, like let's just go. Like fuck it, let's just make these things like terrifying to be around, very dangerous all the time.
You know, this series needs a James Gunn.
Yeah.
It needs someone to look at it and go, okay, I'm not going to wink at the camera. I'm not going to fucking be like, isn't it wild how we're this?
Yeah.
But like embrace the weirdness of it all and really think about the sci-fi implications and the human implications of what we're seeing. And Transformers have never really done that. And superhero movies barely do that. But when they do, that's some of the best. And I want the equivalent of like, I want a scene where I'm crying about a robot, a car robot.
Right.
And I don't think they're there yet. That said, the audience I was in,
they got close to this one.
Yeah, my thought of the audience though that I was in was like, I kept thinking you're enjoying it wrong, which is such a silly thing to say. But like they were laughing at the jokes they were supposed to laugh at. They cheered when Bumblebee got resurrected, and I was like, "What did you think? Did you think he was just going to be a corpse the whole movie?" Like, of course. But it also made me realize, like,
what the fuck is Bumblebee? Who cares about? But all right.
But it also that's the thing that surprised me. It made me realize, like, oh, people like Bumblebee has a fan base.
Yeah.
Because they do that movie. They gave him that.
Well, he's also one of the most popular Transformers. He's on the poster for the original Michael Bay film. It's him,
and
Optimus Prime, and Megatron. Yeah.
It's silly for me to say you're enjoying this wrong. You need to be enjoying it ironically, like I am, because that is the most annoying thing to think ever. But like, at the end of the day, I wasn't mad at anybody because I was like, we're all enjoying this. We're enjoying it for various reasons. And it's I'm sure the people enjoying it for those reasons also recognize how fucking dumb it is. You know, but like, you know, I was the only one in theater laughing whenever the bird talked, you know, and it was like, come on, guys, this
is great too.
Just when they have their showdown in the forest.
God damn,
they're all
that
pointing
shit.
guns at each other. Oh my god,
that was so good.
It was so stupid.
God,
funny as shit. Every
so
time
hard.
they speak.
Yeah.
just constantly these moments where you telescope out and realize that what you're watching is a surreal experience.
Really
like, this is amazing. I had a question about that scene. Can someone clarify, because I can't
what's
really
the question?
So Birdbot and GorillaBot Primal, they lived on Earth for hundreds of years, maybe thousands, and they didn't know that they each were alive. Like, how do you not know?
Because that was the point. They weren't supposed to. They split
They
up
weren't-
with
they
each
split
had
up with-
each was
okay.
watching one half of the key, and they didn't know where the other group
And
was.
so they couldn't cross the beams.
Yeah.
Got it.
So the whole point
Yeah.
was you take one group and go hide somewhere with one key, and then I'll take the other group and go hide somewhere else with the other key. So yeah.
You know, if they really wanted to fit in as animals, Optimus Primal should have shat way more often.
Yeah.
Just passively shitting.
Same with Michelle Yeoh, just
Yeah,
crapping
just
on
bird
just
shit.
cars.
Fucking.
It's so funny.
It's like cubes from a car crusher.
Yeah, I can't. There's a couple shots where they want us to think they're animals in the woods, where they do these shots of like, and it's like, no, that's a robot. Like, I don't know. It's so funny to me that they decided that's how they'll disguise themselves. The primals are so fucking funny.
Oh
Or
yeah,
the
it doesn't make any
Maximals.
sense. The
I love the
Maximals,
idea.
yeah.
The idea that the Maximals, like the most of them, the ones under the Gorilla Bots control, that group lived and coexisted with the tribe, and like
Yeah, in Peru.
had a life, really found a new life, and then it's like cut to Michelle Yeoh, who's just like, I've just been a fucking bird for centuries. I did not have any friends. I just sat basically in one spot looking over a thing. It's
Well,
like,
she does say that the rest of her group is all dead, and it's like, well, what happened? Because the
Yeah,
bad
what
guys
happened?
weren't
And
here.
what have you been
Yeah.
doing?
What-
You just
what-
been looking at
They've
the
just
rock?
been falling apart. Yeah,
Did poachers show up?
Yeah.
Like, what?
I really want. I want a shot of.
Robo-poachers?
I want a shot of Michelle Yeoh like just like watching like a monkey go by and just peck it to death, and they're like, "Oh, you eat?" And she's like, "No, I just get bored." Like
I'm
they're just like
I've gone
killing things.
insane with time.
Yeah.
I mean, Pete Davidson, Mirage, does casually kill 2 or 3 police officers.
He does.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I had questions about that. It was very comfortable for him to see the loss of life occur in front of him.
Well, that's the stuff that I like. I like that they don't I want them to play
want
that up
more.
a little
I
more.
want-
That they
me
do
too.
think of us as ants. I like that idea. I like. I like the idea of humans being generally unimpressed with their bullshit, like scared from their presence, but then when they start talking about their lore, like I want the humans to just kind of zone out more and be like, oh man, like you guys are.
I can't
like,
begin to care about whatever's coming out of your metal mouth.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're telling me the world's ending, so I'll come along and I'll figure this out, but like. Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
like
you're a real drag.
When Joe DiMaggio's character, the plane, who had at this point I believe one line in the movie, was just comic relief, like basically just entered the screen and farted.
Yeah.
He's then the one that they choose to bring Bumblebee's dead ass body to the village for like a rite of like an altar, like place him on an altar. It's one of the funniest fucking things I've seen in a long time. Like he's so sad, everyone's so sad, and I guess
Right.
we feel sad for Bumblebee because we like him, but it's just like, who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah.
His mustache. I will never get over that.
And he just takes
man.
him out of his body because he's in the middle of transforming, dude.
Right.
Which is hideous. That's horrible.
I also want to point out, I know it's the 90s. Michael Bay got one thing right, which is the idea that Transformers, they're not sneaky. That's one of the funniest things
Yeah.
about them, right? Is they think they're sneaky, but they're not sneaky. It reminds me of the X-Men with the Sentinels, where one of them is sneaking, and it's the size of a skyscraper, and it's like hiding behind a building, and it's like, we can all see you, buddy.
Yeah.
And like this one, I gotta say, they like tried to pretend like the world wouldn't know. Like, but there's scenes where they're at like a dockyard, and that big fucking robot like lands in the like in the middle of a city and transforms, and it's like, you think no one can see you right now? Like there are witnesses across the board.
My favorite.
They try to get around it, but it's like, no.
I love it. My favorite is the when the scenes where they're like trying to find the second key, and they're just like chilling in like the Peru streets.
Yeah.
And it's like 1-lane roads in these vast residential back streets, and Optimus Prime is just like fucking chilling, like he's this fucking Mack truck just sitting there.
No one can tell we're at a place, and he's a Mack
clogging
truck
up the whole way, and he's just like on comms telling everyone, "Be cool, be cool."
Right. Meanwhile, there's like a guy in the fucking little bike behind him just laying on the
What
horn.
the fuck is
like,
this
get
doing
the
here?
fuck off the road.
Who put a semi truck in here?
There's
They're so
that Peru scene, that initial scene where the two human characters hop out of Wheeljack and are just trying to blend in with the crowd to find this temple where they're going to find the next key. They are like, they decide to use the humans because they're like, well, we can't go because we'll be spotted because we're gigantic ass robots.
Right.
So we'll just be hidden as cars. You people can go in and blend in wearing these they're wearing local clothes and stuff. They're trying to blend in. And as soon as they get out and start mingling with the crowd, it zooms out to Scourge and the rest of the bad guys watching them through binoculars. They found them immediately.
Yes, because again, it's the only fucking cars that look like that.
It's so easy.
Well, it's not the Transformers. They find the two. They're looking at the two humans.
Oh, I assume they're looking at the humans because they saw Optimus and they're like, he's talking.
Well,
to
there
them.
he is.
There they go. Like they're so obvious.
It's
And of course, the bad
funny to
guys.
me.
I also love that the bad guys, they aren't fucking in disgust. They don't give a shit. I wanted more of that, of them just casually walking through a crowd, just stepping on people, like not caring,
crunching their bones.
Yeah.
I also love that Scourge's transformed form was the truck from Jeepers Creepers.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
What is that?
Like fucking
It's
Mad
like a twisted
Max shit.
metal car. Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, what the fuck? What do you think? You think this is the apocalypse? I
don't
kind
know,
of
but-
love that because he's like, yeah, I'm gonna make it the
A
fucking
real rust
apocalypse.
bucket.
You know,
yeah.
well, yeah, Optimus is seeing that and he's like, damn, that's a cooler one. I should have been that.
That's a cool
like,
look.
yeah. Because he is way more badass looking.
I love the idea that if some of these choices are indeed style, that over time some of these things trend like fashion does, and I just like the idea that Optimus Prime has like a phase where he's like a clown car or an ice cream truck,
Or he gets
something.
goth, yeah.
He goes goth. Goth fucking Optimus Prime would be so good.
Optimus Prime.
Optimus Prime. Yeah.
Holy
Yeah.
shit,
Writes itself.
so good.
Quoth the
Anybody-
Raven, nevermore.
Nevermore.
Remember the little
Autobots.
brother who also
I'm sad. Sorry.
insane poetry.
Just starts blasting dashboard
Yeah,
confessions.
yeah,
Listen to the
playing
Cure.
typo negative on the fucking dashboard.
Skinny puppy and shit.
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna say, remember the little brother? That felt like another Transformers thing where they're like, you got to have a child in here somewhere, even if he doesn't matter.
Yeah, of course.
I do. Oh yeah, I do like, and it was very funny, but I also liked it. This felt like the most James Gunn it got, which was that I do like that the beginning, the human character is like, I need to go, and they're like, we'll pay you, and he's like, oh okay. Like I
Yeah,
appreciate
it's just
that
money.
they had to bribe the human to be part of their adventure,
And then
I
tell
wish
us
at
the
the end he
details.
was like, I still am gonna need that money.
That-
Like I'm really gonna need that money.
And I also love that they took the time to explain how he would get the money. He's like, I'll be a Lamborghini and you sell me, and then I'll,
Yeah. I really,
I have
and then he'll walk
no
away with the good
questions
grift.
How a giant robot
solid
would
grift.
get money. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure a giant robot could get cash, no problem.
I
Right, but he's trying to
wanted-
do
I
it
was-
surreptitiously.
Yeah, I was begging for a scene after that where they're all at an ATM and Optimus is just tearing it in half while everybody's on lookout for the cops. They're like, okay, go, go, go.
And he just
grabs the cash.
He grabs it in his hands and lifts it to Noah and says,
Yeah.
"How much
Is
of
this
this
enough?
is
Yeah.
do you
Hold the
want
bag
to
open.
take?"
Hold the bag open.
There's just something
Dropping bills all
fundamentally
over the street.
funny.
This
about a
fucking
trans-
3-story robot.
Who's a runaway? We're all runaway cars.
There's just something so funny about like this ancient robot on a quest who's like, I'll pay you. It's like, oh, okay, yeah. Do you have Venmo? You know, like it's
That's
just
what I want,
so
is that-
fucking funny.
I want them to use crypto. Like I
Yeah.
want them to
Oh,
be on
hell yeah.
blockchain. That would appeal
Autobucks.
to Autobucks.
In the 90s, implying that they brought crypto to Earth.
Crypto to the
Bot
earth.
coin.
Yeah.
God.
That's the stuff. The idea of this robot needs stuff and is moral, so it needs money is a great fucking I would have liked
That's a whole
I would have
movie.
liked 10 minutes at least of a robot trying to get money. That's funny to me.
And it like starts with the obvious and then gets a little wiser as it goes along, you know?
It's a legit problem. Like I like become a fucking Lyft car and just like
Oh, that'd be funny.
I'm a self-driving car. Don't worry about it.
You're like, no,
I'm a
this is-
Tesla.
I'm not gonna ride in this ghost car.
No.
And they walk out. And he's like, damn it.
But yeah, like it's a hard line to walk, but I feel like we're deserving of a little more of that. A little more of like these things are dumb. And I don't want them to wink at the camera and like tell us how dumb they are. I just want to put them in scenarios that you realize are really silly, that aren't just what they keep doing. Because that's the thing. They keep doing, like, for example, they have the part where Mirage is outside the window. They already did that. The fucking
Yeah, it's in the
first
first
one.
one,
They
yep.
really did, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think-
But again, I appreciate the first one being like they're not inconspicuous. They're
Right.
loud and they're a problem.
Yeah.
And I think we just like we were saying, they've scratched the surface of what you could do with that, and they seem to be unwilling to go further.
I think they're backpedaling because, like, Bumblebee did that. Like, Bumblebee was the weirdest one. It was the most unlike any of the others. It really isn't like any of the other movies. This one seems like it's kind of trying to course correct back to a quote unquote safer, like
It wants to bridge the
action
gap,
adventure
yeah.
Transformers, while still maintaining kind of the tone and I guess joy from Bumblebee.
Right.
But I feel like you're right. I feel like they need to go back to that like kind of Bumblebee mentality and be like, no, let's get weird with it. Like, we've made 7 of these already.
Yeah.
Why keep playing it safe? Let's go weird.
Yeah, exactly. And not the weird that Michael Bay where it's like King Arthur and shit. We don't need extended huge weird lore. It's just like, have a little more fun with it. I get that they want to large scale it because it's Transformers.
Right.
It's a
Go
large
to these
scale.
set pieces and stuff. You can
Yeah.
still do that and be weird, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's certain things that just like there's little things about it that like I still think we could do more of. Like, for example, I don't think there's been a Transformers battle that's like fully from the perspective of the humans, and like to point out how terrifying it is to be like on the ground running and trying to avoid these big metal monsters.
Right.
I did like the instinct of giving the human a mech suit to like so he isn't just
Oh, that's straight from the cartoon. Yeah.
yeah.
He's just
But
Iron
it's-
Man now.
yeah, but also it's like so they can participate
Yeah.
and not just constantly
I
react.
agree.
But
I did laugh when he started running with his jetpack going, because
Jet
I was
boots.
like, the speed of the run is just like his knees are just blown
right,
out.
it should
immediately.
open up and it's just goo comes out at the end.
The funniest thing about that to me was we're not really at like you said, because most of these battles don't take place solely from the human's perspective, so we're rarely at like the human's eye line. So
Yeah.
like when Noah gets the suit on and he's facing off against Scourge, he's like, all right, Scourge, now I'm gonna fight you. And it's like this triumphant moment, but the camera positions the shot of like Noah in front, and then you can kind of see Scourge in front of him, and it's at Noah's eye level, like his perspective, and it's like in that
Right.
moment you realize how fucking big that robot is.
Right,
And it's like this triumphant moment, but I was sitting there thinking like, oh no, he's gonna beat your ass.
Yeah, you are done.
Right. And that's something they generally should do more. Is that like, and I've been watching them Godzillas, and they have this problem sometimes with that. Although sometimes they're better about it, which is that sometimes it's not that the Transformers feel big, but the humans feel small.
Right.
And it's
Right.
like you don't want that. You want them to feel big. You want it to be more from their perspective.
Right.
It varies movie to movie. Some of them do it right.
They
some of
even
them
do a
don't.
bit where like Noah he gets his blade out and slams it right into like the Achilles heel of
Yeah.
Scourge, and it's
The
like
back of his knee or some shit. Yeah.
yeah, and it's like, and it actually helps Optimus Prime like land another blow. Keep it small stakes, but also like you can be small and do damage. You know, you don't need
Yeah.
to go Not all fights concerning robots need to be haymakers all the time.
Right.
Right.
I appreciated that. I appreciated also that they kind of kept it a little... Because, like, if Noah had, like, just kind of run up and, like, just blown his head off, it's like, no, I don't buy that.
I don't buy that.
yeah.
But, like, they have him... Yeah, they keep it in scale. And also, like you're saying, it doesn't have to be these big show-stopping haymakers. It can be little shit like slashing his fucking knees.
Yes, just fucking like cutting on his, just sawing away at his like whatever, like.
I do appreciate that they kept to that stuff, which is like the brutality of the fights. Like Michael Bay did that a lot, where like skulls,
to an
it's like Mortal
extent.
Kombat finishers.
To an extent, I like that they toned it down because I really thought
Michael Bay kind of went out.
The Michael Bay ones got like disturbingly violent with the kind of punishment he would inflict on the robots, which sounds weird to say, but like go back and watch some of those movies. It really is kind of like, are you working through something with this?
They're like just pulverizing
wife bot
like limbs and stuff. But I don't think
really
anything. I don't think anything is as metal as what this movie does, which is rip a head and spine out of a body.
Yeah, it's Mortal Kombat.
Optimus does that to Megatron in Dark of the Moon.
Oh, he does it in Megatron?
No.
Yeah.
I do like the lava in this, shoving him in the lava and like spraying the lava with his sword. I do. So it is a joke to have them have little knives, but like what's to stop them from having little knives? Because it's like it's all the same, right? They get damaged. So it's like getting shanked as a transformer is like getting shanked as a human.
Right.
I guess not quite. I wish they felt more pain. I wish they screamed in agony more. Is that weird to want?
No, especially as it gets closer to this Allspark, like whatever their heart is, that starts getting affected.
Or I want them to like howl out, where it's like they get stabbed in the head and start singing songs and like losing their minds and like I don't know who I am anymore. Yeah, they are machines.
Optimus Prime just forgets who he is. I
are
guess
they
that's the plot.
machines?
Who?
They're not though, right? They're just made of metal. That's I think the only
like
thing
they don't need like
combines
updates.
them.
You don't have to stick a USB card in them.
I mean, they're as much machines as we are machines, but ultimately it's just instead of physics, they have this thing called the Allspark.
Right.
Sure.
I wish they ran on blood at least. Like I wish they were like eating cats.
Yeah, they don't have like a fluid in them, do they?
Not really.
They have oil in the old.
Yeah,
sometimes
they pissed. One of them pissed.
One of them pissed. That's right.
Yeah.
What do you
One of
think
them
is
had
in
balls.
his piss? What do you think that piss is?
All
This is
kinds
what it
of
is.
space cancer.
So this is what it is. All right. I think Michael Bay knew to have fun with Transformers. The problem is he's Michael Bay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's it.
So he's like, what if there's like a racial stereotype Transformer? And it's like, no. I mean, I appreciate the enthusiasm, but you're a terrible man, and you're not like your mind isn't what we want. But we do want someone to think about it in a playful way of like, this is dumb. It doesn't matter. And again, it's sort of hard because it's like, if I was a studio exec listening to us, I'd be like, well, I don't know what you want at this point. Like you want it to be fun, you want it to be self-aware, but not too self-aware. It really does take like a finesse of someone who can like look at this property and see the heart of it, but also what's ridiculous about it. Right?
Yeah, I think it's not that complex. It's just taking something that. What are your observations on your ridiculous offers? How can you pick those apart? Stuff like they're not sneaky. How can you mine that for comedy? That versus doing a rap or something. It's
I do
an
think
either or kind of situation.
We do need Optimus Prime to do a rap before this series is over.
Well, I think that's best saved for the post credits. You know what I mean?
It's true, yeah.
But this is in terms of rebooting. It's not about. It's not a bad start in that like Bumblebee is our equivalent of like Iron Man, right? In terms of movies.
Yeah.
And then they skipped right to Avengers. This is the first Avengers. It's there's Unicron, there's the threat. Now we have to keep it going if people give a shit about this.
I think it will work. I think it's gonna work, right?
I think so.
Well,
I mean, I
it's
liked
not
this
hurting in
one.
the box office. It's not doing bad. Yeah, I wanted to go back to that, which is like, I think as a reset, as a like, okay, we're rebuilding the franchise. If people watch this, if it makes enough money, I'm happy with where they're starting here. But I do think they need to start thinking weirder after this.
I think, they will find that because Adventures already happened, that the well will run dry.
Yes, they can't just
quickly.
use that playbook.
Yeah, because if they just do Avengers 2 equivalent and, we're going to be like, hey, we've already gone through this kind of thing. It's fine. We'll go to it.
Right.
And that's all that really matters. But, like, if you wanted a long-lasting, like, new franchise that actually is the next Marvel, I could see a game-changing movie coming from this IP just because this IP has so many things that other IPs do not, and if they really embraced it, I think that they could actually sell so many tickets.
Yeah. I also think the secret is, we've talked about this a few times, to be the next Marvel, you can't try to be Marvel.
Right.
You have to just
be
try
different.
to be something new and exciting. So for that reason, like, that's why, like, the G.I. Joe thing feels a little desperate, where it's like, no, I don't want the Avengers Initiative again. I need something else. I need like we've tried multiple ways, like the Harry Potters, where like it's all kind of cliffhangery, like which is that's a good instinct, right? That's kept people coming, where it's like it's a continuing story. Avengers did a version of that where it's like building towards something that we're all excited for, all these elements converging.
Yeah.
This can't really do that because all the elements have already converged, right? We're not like, ooh, I can't wait till Optimus Primal meets Optimus Prime. Like they have already met. No one gives a shit. So it's like, what is that promise? What's the thing that you're like, this is going to be the big fucking thing coming up? I guess it's them meets G.I. Joe. And I'm like, I don't, that's fun. I'm not like psyched about that. You know what I mean?
I admit what you're, like, I agree with what you're saying, basically. I do think that there's a sneaky smart thing about the, like, for story reasons, the G.I. Joe thing, because now you actually are entering into the game. What if humans have tech or are mutants or whatever G.I. Joes are, that they can now kind of compete on a higher level? That makes them more viable story-wise to be a part of the DNA of these stories, right? Because if they can hold their own against, let's say, some Transformers or some Decepticons or whatever, then now they're actually on the fields of battle experiencing, and we can see it from their perspective. So I know why they're doing it is because the problem with Transformers and humans has always been throughout the franchise that they are just meat bags. They're usually just people who are like, what did you do? Oh, I run a convenience store, or, like I'm a mechanic, like it's not anything past that.
I have a pitch.
Yeah.
If I were Hasbro, I would pay everything. And anything. I would give it all up for this movie to have ended with a character going, I want you to meet a friend of mine. This is Dominic Toretto.
Yeah, why not?
Seriously.
Superheroes. Yeah.
I mean, what better franchise to cross over than the Fast and the Furious?
That's true.
They would literally, they'd have sequences where like it'd transform while like Dominic just gets launched out of the car and like shoots a guy, and then like they could do like they don't need Fast and the Furious for this, but they should do like
But that would be hilarious.
G.I. Joes then riding Transformers and like
That's
flying
what
out
they're
of the
doing,
cars.
though. That's
right. But I mean, it should be Dominic. It should be the Fast and Furious. But if
be
they don't have
hilarious.
Fast and Furious, they should treat it that way, where the G.I. Joes need to be out of control, right?
Right.
It needs to be like Bumblebee shitting out a G.I. Joe who like rolls on the ground totally fine, fucking like, or like who launches out of him and starts skateboarding and like grinds while shooting some guys.
Yeah.
Like they need to think Triple X, Fast and the Furious.
I like the
They need to make it so stupid with the humans and the action that you'd get from that. So like they need to think Fast and the Furious.
I also
next.
like the idea that they have like drone warfare coming from the GI Joes. You know, that's
Yeah.
the next step, and like, just the Transformers hate that. They just like keep swatting them
Yeah.
out of the air. They're like, "What the fuck is that thing?"
Like they don't have a soul. It's really creeping me out. They're like a robot, but they're not.
It's like you're making little horrible Uncanny Valley versions of us.
Yeah, but yeah, I do think they need to go. Once humans are a part of it, I think they need to think in terms of like, what are some really dumb things we can do with action wise. Like that's the other thing is they've kind of spent. They're kind of just doing the same action over and over again. At this point, it feels like where it's like, yeah, they fight. And it's the swords and stuff. I want to see humans get thrown into the mix more. Like one thing I really liked in this one was when Mirage transforms around the guy, which they've done before, but it was like that element of like human transformer car chase, like more of that.
More of that.
And-
Yeah.
Launch Vin Diesel from fucking
Sure.
Optimus Prime's mouth.
Yeah.
not?
Family Bot.
Yeah,
That's what they should be called.
family,
Yeah.
Family
yeah.
bot. Oh man.
Yeah.
Should we wrap this up?
Any other thoughts?
Sounds like. No, I like that they use more than meets the eye about humans this time.
Yeah.
They did that already. They did that already.
I
These
see.
humans are
Okay.
more than meets the eye.
Yeah,
But I do like it.
Then never
yeah.
mind.
I like it, but yeah,
I like
I'm
it,
pretty sure they
But
did that.
if they've
in the other
already
one.
done it, why? My other comment was just that you can only really do that once, and to hear that they've done it more than once, it's fine now. It's just fine.
Oh, shout out to the music. I appreciated the music. I appreciated fucking Wu-Tang and
Oh, yeah.
90s
LL Cool
music.
J.
Like, yeah,
Cool J
I,
would make it. Yeah.
that was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For what it is, I enjoyed it. It's better than the schlock we've been getting from that franchise, more or less, and
Yeah.
it's bigger than Bumblebee, you know, in terms of like everything,
Scale
so
and yeah, stakes.
scale and
yeah.
all that. So if you're into that, smashy.
It would have been really funny if
Take
they
it,
ended it with
yeah.
that Linkin Park song again, though. But- even though it's
Truly.
the 90s, it just would
Doesn't make any
relevant.
sense. Yeah.
I tried so hard, got so far.
And in
All
the
right.
end, this robot was a car.
Yep. Yep.
So stupid.
There's so many haunting things that a robot could do. Because if it can be anything, like it can just be this perfect device of camouflage. Imagine the haunts, the absolute existential destruction of any. Like you make a
Yeah.
horror movie out of this franchise. Fuck it.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. You could do that pretty fast.
Yeah,
Abe.
it's great.
Good.
Yeah,
Abe.
yeah.
Thank you so much for being on the show.
Hey, I love talking to you guys. You guys are real smart about movies, and I love talking to smart people about movies.
Aw, we like talking to you about movies.
Thanks,
Smart.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to hit your
Yeah.
plugs again?
Yeah, I mean, if you heard it at the top, just continue on. Check it out. seedandspark.com/fund/papa-bear. We got a few more days left. I don't know when this is exactly coming out, but Thursday the 17th or something like that. Thursday is the last day.
That'll be the 15th.
That would be the 15th. Oh, no, yeah, so the 16th, Friday. Friday the 16th is like the last day that you can give to our campaign. If you have the scratch, please do, and you can check out all the details of the movie at that link. But basically, it's just Michael Swaim and I, people who, you know, we're very, like, spent our formative years at Cracked and made jokes there. We're now making jokes in a movie form, and it's about a son dealing with the fact that his dad just came out as a gay furry, and it's mostly the furry part that he's worried about, obviously. And it's just, dumb jokes made by these two yucks. Thank you so much for allowing me to be on your podcast and plug my thing. Thank you.
Hey, dude.
It's awesome, man.
Yeah. Of
course.
Yeah, everybody check it out. Sop them up.
Sop
Sop them.
it up.
Soak them in
Sop
money.
that shit up. Yeah. Dave, tell him some stuff.
We have a Patreon, patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. For $5 a month, you get access to a bunch of exclusive podcasts, like Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, Fox Mulder is a Maniac. We do, with the Small Beans, we do Star Trek The Next Futurama, and Spiel Boys, featuring these two chuckle fucks.
These two boys of Spiel.
Me and Tom.
Yeah, we watch
the
movies every
boys.
Friday night. I would see us watching this Transformers on a Friday night at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, check all that out. You'll love it.
We also have a store. Head over to gamefullyunemployed.com where you can find a link to our Teespring store, where you can find all kinds of cool original artwork and designs we have on t-shirts, mugs, stickers, posters, all sorts of things. So slap your transforming peepers onto that. All right.
Roll out.
Yeah.
Pull out? Is that what he says? Pull out?
No, he says roll out.
It says roll out.
Pull out's the porn version.
Yeah, pull out is Autobots.
Pull out.
Pull out.
I can't have another kid. Too many of you.
Too many of you. Optimus no longer wants to be a daddy.
Classic porn trope is being very concerned about pregnancy.
Robot pregnancy.
He's Do you want me this time to be transformed as the truck with a dick? How do you
Truck
want
nuts.
How do you want me? Holy shit. Oh, fuck. Why didn't we talk about this the whole fucking
I don't know. We'll have to do a follow-up.